You're listening to Drive with Anna Vidot on ABC Radio Canberra.
Now, for a long time, when we've been having various discussions about building light rail in the city, the next step, long mooted, is for the light rail to travel to Woden. Certainly we've seen developers selling land and packages based on that proposal. However, that path could be a little more up in the air if the election, well, depending on which way the election goes next month. The Canberra Liberals have indicated that the proposed light rail route may change if they win that election. Here's what Candice Birch, the Liberal spokeswoman for Transport, had to say last night at the Conservation Council's Transport Election Forum.
The Canberra Liberals are absolutely committed to expanding light rail. Now that we do have light rail, we do want to see it be successful and we do want to see it expanded into a network. However, we do want to conduct independent analysis to decide what the next best route is going to be, to make sure that it's the right route, it's done at the right time and at the right cost. The government is still not being transparent with Canberrans about what analysis they have done, about the business case and about the costs that are going to be involved with future stages. Anecdotally, a lot of people say to us, what about Belconnen through the city and out to the airport? That seems to make the most sense as the next route. And we still haven't heard from the government as to why that's not the case. So we want to be certain that the route and the money that we're committing to is the right investment decision for Canberra, and it's not simply about chasing votes.
Unfortunately, Candice Birch wasn't available to speak with us on Drive this afternoon, but the Canberra Liberals have provided a statement which reads that they are committed to ensuring the light rail system is a success, to ensuring future stages are economically viable and that Canberrans receive value for money for the expansion of the network. The Canberra Liberals statement says they will conduct an independent analysis into the Labor Greens government's business case for Stage 2, and if it stacks up, the project will proceed. The statement continues, we will ensure that future stages of the network provide the best possible value for Canberrans. We will publish the business case and other information withheld by the government. So what could a change in the plans for the next stage of the light rail mean for Canberra, should that happen after the election? Michael Hopkins is the Chief Executive of Master Builders ACT. Michael Hopkins, good afternoon. What, as far as you're concerned, is the case for Stage 2 to continue to Woden at this stage?
Look, hi there, Anna. From a local construction industry's point of view, we are less concerned about whether the next stage heads to Woden or to Belconnen or to the airport. Our expectation is that after all of these years of Canberra talking about light rail, that the investigative work should have been completed by now, and there should be a clear master plan that guides the delivery of light rail. What we're concerned about here is that there's a lot of local jobs depending on the construction industry at the moment, particularly infrastructure funded by our federal and territory governments. At the beginning of this year, there were close to 20,000 people that worked in the local construction industry, and many of our members were getting ready, gearing up their businesses to start building the next stage of light rail. We were worried earlier this year, around July, when the current government announced that they were delaying the signing of contracts because that meant the delay of local jobs. And we're now concerned that there may even be further delays if the next stage is up for debate again.
What would that mean for construction jobs?
Well, particularly for our civil construction sector, it would mean significant, hundreds and even thousands of jobs that would be delayed because of this project. This would be one of the biggest infrastructure projects in Canberra's history. So there are a lot of jobs riding on this. We have seen over the years investment by government into capital work slowly declining, and so our message to all of the candidates has been: we don't just want to see capital works delivered. We actually need an acceleration of infrastructure spending at the moment. We need some of that government spending to fill the gap that's being created by the decline in private building construction activity. So actually what would be great from our members' point of view, is to build it to Woden and to Belconnen. I mean, that would give you an idea of the scale of construction and jobs that need to be created to fill the vacuum that's going to be created because of this COVID recession we're experiencing.
For a next step, from a jobs creation point of view, as far as you're concerned in the construction industry, does it make a difference whether Stage 2 goes to Woden, given some of the groundwork that has been done, or that was junked and we built something from Belconnen instead in the ACT?
Well, what's significant to the construction industry is the timing, and it's particularly that next 6 to 12 months of activity where our members are reporting a big drop-off in activity. So it's all well and good to have big infrastructure announcements of projects that are going to be delivered 3, 4 and 5 years down the track. But what is a concern to us is the timing of that infrastructure. And look, quite frankly, I'm just not convinced that any of the candidates or from any of the parties actually understand the gravity of the economic crisis that we're about to confront, not only for the construction industry, but across the territory and across Australia. There are more than 11,000 people out of work in Canberra. There are more than 1,300 of those out of work in the construction industry. And the construction industry can play a very important role in leading that economic recovery. So we don't only need the light rail construction to proceed as quick as possible, we need a whole range of construction projects to continue and be fast-tracked to keep or to support those local jobs.
Like what? I mean, and we have heard certainly the ACT government talking about infrastructure. We've heard the federal government talking about infrastructure. We've heard every government talking about the need for infrastructure since this pandemic period began. Why are you not convinced that people of any party, as you say, are taking that seriously?
Well, we with other industry associations wrote to the government a few months ago calling for them to bring forward construction of the convention centre, of the sports stadium, of the Epic redevelopment, of a whole range of projects which are already nominated on the long-term infrastructure plan for the ACT. And it appears that those suggestions have been rejected. And now here we are talking about light rail as well. So if it's not going to be these projects which industry has suggested, I guess we would like to hear from all of the candidates what infrastructure do they intend to build, what would they fund, and more importantly, what can they get under construction in the short term. It's really that 6 and 12 month window that is so important to us at the moment.
Regardless of the urgency for the creation of construction jobs right now, we don't want to be building things which are not viable, which are white elephants. Are you convinced that a rush to begin construction on Stage 2, wherever it's going to go, actually does stack up economically at this point?
Well, that's why we've pointed to projects which are already identified in the ACT infrastructure plan. So those projects should have already gone through that assessment by government that's been needed to prove that they're viable. In fact, they should have already been through some preliminary design and approval processes before they were announced and included in the ACT infrastructure plan. So we're not making suggestions, wild suggestions for projects which have never been considered before. All of these projects, as well as many medium and small-sized projects as well, are already included in that long-term plan. We would hope that that long-term ACT infrastructure plan is supported by all parties and by all candidates. Our message is we just want governments to get on and help us deliver those projects so that we can support the 20,000 jobs in the construction industry.
Michael Hopkins, thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks very much. Michael Hopkins is the Chief Executive of Master Builders ACT. We are now well and truly into the official election period here in the ACT. We'll see which announcements are forthcoming when it comes to various infrastructure and from various parties too across the board.